To go.
All right, take it away.
Awesome. Sweet. Let me share my screen really quick. See if this will work. Okay, I gotta allow the Zoom to. Okay, let's see if it'll let me know. Share. There we go. Awesome. Sweet. All right. Can everyone see the presentation? I'm just gonna play from the start.
There we go. You're good, man.
Perfect. Awesome. Sweet. Well, first off, I want to give a big thank you to Midday Connect for hosting this. And it seems like an awesome group. We're super excited to be involved with you guys. Um, and I kind of want to introduce us. So I'm Carter. My co-founders are on here, James and Brendan. We're certified AI partners. We're local here in Utah. We're out of Provo, Utah. And we're super stoked to give you guys some secret sauce today on what we're doing with mid-market enterprise companies. And so the title of this presentation is the workflow worth fixing first. And so I'm sure all of you have heard so much about AI. It's a big buzzword right now. Um, I just want to see like from a show of hands, like who thinks AI is a buzzword? Like even us, right? You hear so much about it, and it's kind of rare that you hear really practical steps to help you find something to automate, right? And so that's what we kind of want to do today is give you guys the practical steps and the practical frameworks so that you guys can save time and save money. Because those are the really two biggest levers you want to focus on with AI is saving time and saving money. And so here's a picture of us doing another event as co-founders. And I kind of want to talk about why you should listen to us. And so between the three of us, we have more than 3 years of experience implementing AI in companies across five different industries, 30 plus clients. And so we know our stuff. We've been in this game for a long time. And and it's really cool because recently we did an assessment with a $28 million construction company, and we were able to estimate $200,000 a year in ROI yearly for this company by following this exact framework. And so we're going to give this exact framework to you guys today for free in less than 10 minutes. And so, are you guys ready? Ready to go? Sweet. Okay. Now, this next slide, it's going to look super simple, but I want you guys to stay with me because this is kind of where the magic starts. So, when you guys are thinking about what to automate, what to focus on, it's really simple. The first thing you want to do is walk throughout your day and either take a pen and a paper or in the notes app, just write down what are you doing day to day? Like what are the different tasks you're accomplishing? And so that's step one. Number two is you kind of want to spot the friction in your day. You want to see, okay, where is work kind of getting slowed down? Where am I doing a lot of repeating? Where is work getting lost? And you want to focus in on one part of your day, one task where there's that friction. And you want to focus on that because one thing with AI is it's really easy to get spread thin. It's really easy to try to automate everything at once. And so what we found works best is focusing on one thing at a time. And so that's the framework. Walk throughout your day, write down everything that you're doing, and look for the friction. Look where things are getting repeated. And my wonderful co-founders are gonna take the next couple slides. So I don't know if you want to unmute your mic, James, and talk about the next part of the framework. I don't know if you can. Can you unmute your mic? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, yeah, I can jump in real quick. Um, so yeah, Carter laid that out perfectly. This is exactly what we do when we're working with smaller companies, bigger companies. Doesn't matter the size, the industry. This is the framework we apply. Um, and so to piggyback off of what Carter said, follow the steps that you do manually. Find the bottlenecks and lay out what are the tools that you're touching. So, for example, like if you're in your inbox or your CRM or you're going into a spreadsheet, um, kind of create a map linearly of like, here's step one, here's step two, here's step three of this workflow I'm doing. That could be, your invoices, your accounts receivable, your accounts payable, whatever workflows you're doing within a certain area, map it out clearly so you can have a great overview and look for repetition, things that you could hand off, lots of data entry, anything you're copying, pasting, manipulating, anything that you could potentially hand off to give you more leverage in your time or your money. That's kind of what we do is we go through with these companies that hire us out. And we just sit down with their employees and we're like, hey, tell us about your day. Let's just walk through it. Let's talk about what you do. And they walk us through their whole day and we kind of map it out with them. So if you guys can do this, you'll start to find the areas of like, oh, I do this, like probably 4 or 5 times a week. And maybe it could give me XYZ amount of time back.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that wonderful explanation, James. And so yeah, that's the framework for finding and kind of seeing that overview of the task and the steps. And now we want to show you like practically like how you start to implement AI. And so go to the next slide here. So here are some simple steps for what you'd want to do to actually start building out a workflow once you have the specific thing you want to focus on. So you literally want to open up ChatGPT or Claude, and within the first line, the first paragraph, you want to explain the work. And so, like in normal English, explain the process that you're going through, kind of what James talked about, like the map of like, okay, I'm taking this data from this software, I'm copying it over into a spreadsheet, I'm creating a proposal, I'm sending out the proposal. And like in plain English, you want to explain the whole process of your work. And then below that, you want to explain to AI what tools you're using. So you'd say like, okay, my lead comes in through Gmail, and then I use Excel, and then we use Twilio to send out a message. And so you want to explain specifically what tools you're using. And then underneath that, ask Claude to help you build the smallest version of this automation. And once you have the smallest version, then you can reiterate, improve, and make it repeatable. Because the goal is to create a repeatable system that takes this task off your plate forever, right? So you have that time back and you can focus on more high leverage activities. And so here's an example. I just pasted into Claude of what this looks like. And so like if I was a plumbing company, I would say like I run a plumbing company. When a service request arrives by email, our office manager copies the details into a spreadsheet, checks the schedule, and replies. This takes too long and some requests get mixed. So that's explaining the work, explaining the task or the part of your day you want to focus on. Then below it, explaining the tools. We use Outlook, Excel, and Service Tie-in. And then below that, asking AI, you're basically saying, help me use Claude to pull the important details from each email, flag missing information, and draft a reply for approval. And so this literally can be done from the smallest business to the biggest business. Just going to AI, explaining the work, showing the tools, and having AI walk through how to automate it. And so that's a super simple overview, but we honestly like to keep it as simple as possible because, like we said, there is a lot of buzzwords in AI right now. And the most useful thing is trying to automate one thing at a time and getting one thing to work really well for you before moving on to other tasks. And so we actually have something really, really cool that we built out for you. Brendan, if you want to unmute your mic and explain what we built out for everyone at Midday Connect.
Yeah, for sure. So pretty much we wanted to build something that can walk you guys through this, kind of actually take an example so you guys have a takeaway of one single process that you could automate or you could be using AI for in your business or in your day-to-day. This could be for business owners, this could be for employees, this could be for really anyone that has work that needs to be done throughout the day. And so you can scan this QR code. And I'm sending the link out as well right now. And that will take you to a form where it'll ask you your name, your company, like your website to kind of understand like what you do and what your industry is in. And then it's going to go through a step-by-step like Q&A chat style. So you'll have a question, go ahead and answer that. You can use your voice to respond or type it out. And as you go through that, it will kind of be following that same process of helping you explain the work, asking you the tools that you use, and then helping you find like what's the one thing that you should focus on with AI right now. So wanted to hand that off to you guys for about 5 minutes to kind of go through that and actually walk through this process. If you have any questions, like message us in the chat here, and we'd be happy to help out.
So you want people to scan the QR code, go in and fill out right now?
Yep, right now, if
Okay.
that's all right.
Little lead gen here. Okay.
More so, we just want to provide like the exact steps in a way that they can take away, so they have an actionable plan rather than just listening. But Brendan, do you want to drop
So
that in the
do we have a
chat?
brave soul here who wants to share their screen and fill out the form real time?
Yeah,
So
that'd
we're
actually
all
be pretty
just
cool.
staring at each other for 5 minutes.
Can you send the link in the chat instead of scanning the QR code? I can share my screen.
Yeah, I just sent it in the chat. Did everybody get that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Was that
Do you want me
Kyle?
to
Are you going
share?
to be our guinea pig?
I can be our guinea pig if you want me to
Let's
share my
do it,
screen.
Kyle. Let's do it.
Let
You should
me
be
pull
allowed
back
to
up
share.
Zoom so I can. Where- Can you see my screen okay now?
There it is.
Okay, let me adjust. Put this in. All right. Do you want me just to go through step by step, I guess, and answer these questions live?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, I'd say probably. Should I put just one thing at first, or can I list multiple things kind
No,
of we're going
Kyle,
through?
let's group it together and let's make it as crazy as we can make it. I'd like to I'd like to
Um,
like to learn how to take my 747 down the runway much faster and more efficiently than I
It's
Sounds
gonna know,
good.
so it's gonna crawl like find my place to kind of understand more about your business. And so anything related to that would be helpful.
Kyle, you could do something about like LinkedIn searching for contacts. I know there's a lot of folks on the call that use LinkedIn for lead gen and trying to find connect Cloud with Sales Navigator and that kind of stuff. That might be a good one too.
Let's see what else. Let me see. Okay, I'm putting a couple different things that I feel like I face daily. A lot of it's reporting, I think. So, um, okay. Hopefully that's long enough.
Carter, as he's doing this, can you tell us what his answers are doing for you? Like why you're asking this question?
She performs this task.
Yeah, so the idea behind this is obviously ask follow-up questions just to get more information and build a better roadmap. If that's your question, right? You're asking like why is the AI asking these questions, like these follow-up questions? Or
Yeah, just wondering what
okay, yeah.
information it gives you that is helpful or how you decided to ask these questions.
Yeah, so the way it's set up is that it's obviously connected to an LLM that is going to ask the follow-up questions required to know like, okay, what is the specific steps within this task and what are the like parts of the task that AI can take off your plate. And so it's just a model trained to do just exactly that. But it's kind of cool how we built this for, I mean, obviously for every person, it's going to be different because depending on what you put in the first answer, it's going to ask you different follow-up questions. Um, and so like, yeah, it's just asking like, can you walk me through the steps? What specific software are you using? Like who's handling it? Those are the type of questions too you want to think if, you know, if you're just trying to find an opportunity within your business to automate. So
Yeah. And if you'll allow me to jump in, Carter, um, when we do these assessments for companies, well, our main objective is to rank them by return on investment. So how much time it will give back and whether that time is just time that they get back or if that time can increase their output of whatever they do at the company. So increase their revenue, whatever service they're delivering. And so asking these questions helps us kind of understand, okay, like for a company we've been working with over the past 2 months, they do a lot of bids. And so we found a workflow that helps save them not only time, but now Sydney, who does 8 bids a week, can now do 12 bids a week, which can increase their gross margin by, you know, 20 to 23%. So we try and map it out with these questions on like, it'll help us rank them by ROI. Does that kind of make sense?
It does. So is your, like, other than having a different look than like Claude or ChatGPT, is this informed by data from previous clients, or what is the difference between this and just a typical LLM interface?
Yeah, so I think to kind of clarify, this isn't like really any different. I think what the purpose of this was to take kind of like that framework of identifying what you do in a day-to-day, understanding the tools that you use, and then explaining out that workflow. It's basically doing the same thing. So kind of what we're trying to teach you here is you can do this with your ChatGPT account. You can do this with your Claude account, and walk through your day. And like we didn't outline the questions that it has to ask. Like these are questions that it's just doing to understand that more and help guide you along this process, to then ultimately give you like an idea of where you could be or shouldn't be using AI in your business.
Kyle, I applaud you for your spelling. Most of the time, I have a lot of red underlined words, and I just blow right through them.
You know, I do my best, so thank you. I
You're doing
have
well,
been
doing really well.
recently, I just I got Whisper Flow and I've been using voice to text most of the time just because I feel like that's so
So
much
now
easier.
your fingers are like, I don't even know how to connect my brain to my
My
fingers
fingers are
anymore.
fatigued. Soon I'll just be
Hmm.
a
Yeah,
little
you sore? You want to
geriatric
stop and
here.
take a break and stretch your fingers out a little bit?
Yeah, but feel free to use Whisper Flow, like, or we did kind of build our own little Whisper Flow for you guys to make it quicker.
Okay,
This
maybe I'll
episode
mute.
of Midday Connect is not presented by Whisper Flow, but maybe it should be next
Yep.
time. How far into our form here are we? Are we nearing the end? I
Yes, we
think we've
should
hit
be
our
near the
five
end
minute
here.
mark.
And it may vary, like for some people, yours may be a lot quicker, just because it's quicker to understand. So there you go.
Okay, I think I finished. Is it going to email me like kind of next steps of what I should do?
Yep, exactly. It will basically show you, and this should take you to the next report. If not, it's in your email. But the idea was just to kind of give you with a takeaway from this. So yeah, there you go. So this will kind of outline it focused on the invoicing feature for Find My Place and has some ideas and maybe specifically spots where you should be using AI.
So it kind of just took what I gave it in terms of my workflow and said this is probably the most or like the
Yeah.
first thing it would fix or
Hmm.
work on or that
Yeah.
I should
And
work
so I
on
think
automating.
right here's the main part right here. If you go up and click so this, it outlined your step-by-step process of how the workflow operates today. If you go ahead and click that with AI, that will go and show you like what parts of the process um, can easily be involved by AI handling this.
So is the what handled by AI, is that the black then here or is it the other ones?
It's
Oh,
the
I see, I see, I
gold part.
see.
Yeah.
Yep, got it.
Mhm.
So it's like these two would be decided by me, but the rest can be automated.
Correct. Yep.
Gotcha.
So hopefully this provides a ton of value to you guys, like, and helps you kind of think about how you should be going about AI and using it. Because definitely there's times you should be using AI and there's times you shouldn't be. And like the example in this workflow, there's 6 or 7 steps, and only two of them like should not be used in AI. I think the problem a lot of people do is they get that shiny object syndrome where they want to do it all at once. But the key to using AI is choosing when it needs to be used and when it shouldn't be used. And so, yeah, I think. Does anyone have any questions on
I
that?
think
Thank you, Kyle.
Barry just
Yeah.
asked what's the price tag. So this is free for you guys to use. We built this for you guys, just specifically for this call to provide you guys with some value and something you could take away in terms of actionable steps for your business. And so completely free. Um, we do as a company, we offer assessments. So we do comprehensive assessments within businesses. And so we have a 40% off special for Midday Connect. And so it'll be right there within at the bottom of the page if you guys are interested in that. But the tool is completely yours. It's free to use. So you guys can use it as much as you like. But when we do comprehensive assessments, it's a lot more in depth. Like we personally, as founders, come into your business, interview all the right people, go through all the steps, take as much time as we need to help you find your highest opportunities. So I don't know, James and Brandon, do you guys have anything else or?
Carter, walk us through, I guess, what are some additional, if I'm a solopreneur, I don't, and you walk in for a comprehensive, I don't have anyone else that I'm going to pull in. So what are some of the questions that you use to kind of spark conversation when you do an on-site or an in-depth?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think like we said in the presentation, like the first thing we would do is just like, get as much context as we could on the business and have them walk us through like what do their daily activities look like. Because one of the biggest things with solopreneurs is they kind of handle a lot of different hats, right? Where they wear a lot of different hats, right? They're handling sales, marketing, building, all at once. And so like walking through their day and saying like, okay, what is taking the most amount of time? And then focusing on that first. And so like let's say it's marketing, for example, it's taking most amount of time. We would go in and ask follow-up questions being like, okay, like in terms of marketing materials, like how are you creating them? Are you creating them in Canva, right? Are you using AI to create your ads? Are you leveraging AI to post on social media? Things like that. And so asking those follow-up questions on what's taking most amount of time, I think I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that's what I would say. But
Yeah, I mean, I guess one level deeper, and maybe you can
mhm,
kick this to your team too, but for those who, I mean, I'm thinking more tactical. Like, should I look at my calendar and see where I'm spending time? Or is that something that you recommend that we plug, Claude into and say, look at my calendar? Or is it, uh, looking at my battery usage on my phone and seeing what apps I'm in all day, whether it's messages or mail or LinkedIn or HubSpot? What are some other ways that I can, if, you know, I think a lot of times as an entrepreneur, you get a little bit, you're in everything.
mhm.
So where are some other places I can look and see my routines that maybe I'm not even aware of?
Yeah, I think I
James,
can answer
Brandon.
that. That's a great question, by the way. Um, Claude, AI in general, whatever you use, like I wouldn't say there's like one of the best ones because they're becoming like so good so quickly. But they connect into all your stuff. So if you are like the Google Suite, for example, use Google Workspace, you can connect into your calendar, you can connect into your email, you can connect into your Drive. So where everything's stored. If you use Microsoft, you can connect into the Microsoft 360, which has access to Outlook, Teams, and basically where everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And you can ask it to first give me a high-level overview of what does my day-to-day actually look like? Or even ask, like, I sometimes like to ask, like, imagine you don't know who I am based off of my calendar, based off of my emails, who do you think I am and what responsibilities do I have to really understand what you actually do? And I think that's super applicable for especially solo entrepreneurs or small teams because you are doing lots of things that you may not even realize. Um, so I think to answer your question, the most important thing is first connect to what you're doing day to day. You can even take screen recordings. Like ChatGPT just came out with this brand new feature where it's like, if you're comfortable with it, it can record your screen and so it knows what you're doing. And then when you ask it questions, it has that context of what you've been doing that day to be able to answer questions. So there's a lot of things that you can do to give AI more about you and understand you.
Perfect. Other questions from the group? Barry's got a question in the chat. Yep. Curious about just the cost. What does an engagement look like?
Yeah, so typically for the assessment, we charge $14.99. And then but we have the 40% off for Midway Connect. So if you got any friends, we would totally honor that with the Midday Connect platform. I think yeah, sorry, $1,499. Um, not 14,000.
Just scanning back over the chat here for questions I might have missed.
John, we're stoked that your report looks great. Thanks for letting us know.
So I guess once you've got, if I've got the report, what do the next steps look like? Where do you go from here with the client? Because I mean, if I can't build the sequences or the processes, what's happening next?
Yeah. So one thing that we've included at the bottom of the report, because obviously we know like just understanding the workflow and where AI can do it is just the first step. Then it's actually going out and building it. So we've provided a copy and paste prompt that takes your workflow and helps you put it into actionable steps of what you can do to automate it. And most of the time, like I'll be honest, AI will know better than anyone on how to implement it or how to do it because it knows the systems. It's the sum of all the smartest people in the world is pretty much what an AI model is, because it has all that context. So that's the first thing that I would do is take that copy and paste prompt, put it into your AI and see like what it suggests of what you need to do to set up. Sometimes it may be super simple, like with Claude and ChatGPT, there's routines that you can tell it to set up a routine that it checks your email every day and sends you a report, or even drafts a reply to all your emails coming in. Like that's something super simple that anyone with zero technical knowledge can set up. Once, if it's something more complicated, like you need to build out a platform or something to be able to house data and stuff like that, that's where you want to look to someone who has more expertise in building AI systems or even systems in general, that could help you with that. But most things can be pretty simple in the way that they're set up now. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. What do you say? I mean, Taylor's question, I think, was hitting around what stops from someone from having this type of conversation with Claude and even saying, give me a step-by-step process at the end that shows what I can do with AI and what I need to do. So kind of what's in it for me, what's better for me working with you versus working with Claude directly or whichever platform I choose.
Yeah, I can answer this question. And that's a great question. What we kind of built here
Three
was,
great questions in a row, everyone.
yeah,
All of my questions
three.
have been
You're
great.
hitting them
We're
on the
we're on a
head.
roll. We're on a roll right now.
Yeah,
How
well,
about the
let's keep
second
them
That will
going.
one?
never happen again.
Taylor,
The
you can
second
ask
one
any.
wasn't that great. Let's be
Well,
honest.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Um, so what the reason we created this kind of platform for everyone to walk through is because most business owners we talk to, transparently, they can go to Claude, they can go to chat, have this conversation, but they just don't know what AI is capable of or how to clearly map out and dictate what they're doing or how to identify these areas where AI can help them. So again, it just goes back to that framework. Like we said, it's simple. Like anybody could do it. It's just most people usually don't end up doing it. And so that's kind of why we try and just walk them through and keep it simple. What do you do day to day? What tools are you touching? What can AI take off your plate? And like Brendan said, once they go through that and they get their report, they get a prompt that includes all that context, and they just throw it into their Claude or chat, and it can say, here's how we're going to set this up so that we actually get that end outcome. So yeah, we kind of set up a way to do it for free. People just, they pay us for our time and to get it done fast and to get it done at a high level for those extra more complex workflows that they do need someone more technical involved.
Awesome. I am just curious, and this will help us at Midday Connect as we curate speakers and topics. If y'all who are attendees here, whether you're on or off camera, on a scale of 1 to 10, if today, if the topic that we sent out, if you're coming away feeling like you were fulfilled on this, just give me a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being entirely, yes, this hit on exactly what I was coming to Midday Connect for today, or a 1, no, we missed the mark. And I'm just talking midday holistic, not just these speakers, but networking, education, Q&A. And there's no right answer. It just helps us, as we do the curation. So appreciate it. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for coming out today. We do this every week, same time, same place. And as Taylor said, if you are at the stage where you are raising, or you think in the next quarter or two, you'll be raising some funds and want to gear up and prep for investor due diligence, you definitely want to tune in to Midday Connect in September, where that is the theme of the month. So if you've been around us for a while, our themes kind of bounce around, but we're going to dedicate an entire month to building out and prepping for investor due diligence. We're going to get tactical with that. So invite your friends. If it's not you, then help us spread the word, and that's where we'll be. We're on YouTube and LinkedIn are our primary channels. All of these videos get recorded and put up to YouTube. The cool thing about that at our channel, if you subscribe, you can use the search bar on YouTube, search for topics such as practical AI tips, or go to market, or accounting for startups, and you're going to find the speakers that we've brought in from the last 6 years, and get some tidbits there. So thanks for coming. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Midday Connect.
Thank you guys.